There's a place you go that nobody in your life knows about. It's your car, in your own driveway, engine off, still ticking while it cools. House sitting right there, about 20 feet away, with the porch light on because somebody left it on for you. And you're just sitting there. You didn't forget anything in the car. You know exactly what you're doing. You're putting your face back on. Because in about 90 seconds, somebody inside is going to call out, "Hey, you're home." And you need to have a voice ready. The steady one. The one that handles things. The one your family has been leaning on for so long that nobody in that house thinks to ask how you're doing. And that isn't their fault. Because you have never once given them a reason to wonder. Tonight, I want to take you to a hill in the desert, where a man had the most exhausting job anybody in the Bible was ever handed. There's an army fighting in the valley below him, and Scripture ties what happens down there to whether one tired old man can keep his arms in the air. What finally steadied him was a rock. 2 friends did something for him in a specific order, and there's half of one verse that describes it. And that half gets skipped every single time this story gets preached. When you see it, you're going to understand why you've been tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. I'm not going to tell you to stop being strong. Your life won't let you. And I'm not going to insult you by pretending otherwise. I'm going to show you what they did for Moses before they helped him. Let's go. The engine's off. It's still ticking as it cools. That little metal sound under the hood you only ever hear when everything else has stopped. You pulled in 4 minutes ago. Your seatbelt slid back into place a while back, and you didn't notice. The radio cut out when you turned the key, right in the middle of a song you weren't really listening to anyway. There's a coffee in the cup holder from this morning with an inch left in it. Cold now, and you'll bring it in tomorrow or the day after. The house is right there, 20 feet, maybe. Porch lights on. There's a blue flicker in the front window. So the television's going. So somebody's still up. And you're sitting in your own driveway in the dark. There are groceries in the trunk. You know there are. There's a half-gallon of milk back there and a bag of frozen peas. And some part of your brain is running a clock on both of them. And you're still not moving. Let's be honest about what's happening out there. You're getting ready. You tilt the rearview mirror down a little. You're not checking your teeth. You're checking the face. You're looking at it the way a person looks at a wall they just patched, to see whether the seam shows. Then you take a breath that actually goes all the way down, which, if you stop and think about it, is the first one of those you've taken since about 6:30 this morning. Because when that door opens, the day starts over. Somebody's going to need a permission slip signed. Somebody's going to ask what's for dinner in a voice that already assumes you'll figure it out. Somebody's going to bring up the weekend thing you've been dodging since Monday. There's a prescription that needs refilling, and exactly one person on this earth is tracking that. And it's you. So you sit there for 1 more minute. Then you open the door, and you walk in, and you say something bright. And nobody inside that house has the faintest idea that a minute ago you were sitting in the dark, trying to remember how to be a person. Now let me tell you how I know you. Your name is written in the emergency contact box on 4 different forms you didn't fill out yourself. A school form, a job form, somebody's intake paperwork at a place with fluorescent lights and a fish tank in the lobby. You are who other people list for when the worst happens. You know somebody else's medication schedule by heart. The dose. The color of the pill. Which one goes with food. Which one they can't take with grapefruit. Ask you your own cholesterol number, and you'd have to go look it up. You're the one who calls the insurance company, and you've gotten good at it, which is its own kind of sad. You know to say agent, 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 to break out of the phone tree. You know to write down the name of whoever you talked to and the time you called, because you learned that one the hard way once, and you never forgot it. There's a group text with 6 people in it, and every one of them is waiting on you to decide about Thanksgiving. They've been waiting 11 days. 3 of them have sent a thumbs up to messages that were not decisions. You've moved your own doctor's appointment 3 times. Not once for you. Every single time it was because something came up for somebody else. And when the office called to confirm, you were the one who said no problem. And you meant it. And you moved yourself. And here's a small one. That might be the truest one in the whole list. The bathroom is the only room in your house with a lock on it. You know that because you've used it. You've sat on the edge of the tub with the water running for no reason at all. 2 minutes. Maybe 5. Water going down a drain, so nobody hears that you're not doing anything. You've stood in your own pantry with the door open, not eating, just standing there in front of the cereal, in the 1 square foot of that house where nobody is looking for you, and you're the last one awake. Every night, you go room to room, turning off lights other people left on. You check the stove even though you already checked it. You check the front door twice, and you know you checked it. And you check it again anyway. Because if something happens tonight, it happens on your watch. Then you lie down next to somebody who's already asleep, and there's nobody left to hand any of it to. So here's a question I want to put on the table, and I'm going to leave it there a good while without answering it, because I don't think it deserves a quick answer. You are everybody's emergency contact. Who's yours? I want to be careful here, because I'm not describing a tragedy. Most of you love the people you're carrying. That's why you're carrying them. There's no villain anywhere in this. Nobody's chaining you to anything. And if I asked you right now to name one person in that house who's cruel to you, most of you couldn't do it, which is exactly what makes this so hard to talk about. Nothing is wrong. And that brings me to the part I want you sitting with before we go anywhere near a Bible. You're not out there in that car because something went wrong today. Most days nothing goes wrong. You're out there because of how long it's been going right, and who's been making it go right, and how quiet you've been about what that costs. Nobody in your life is neglecting you. Every one of them has simply reached a conclusion, based on years and years of evidence that you personally provided, that you're fine. Go back and find the day somebody handed you the job. You won't find it. There wasn't a day. Nobody sat you down. There was no meeting, no phone call, no moment where a person looked you in the eye and said, "From here on out, you're the one who holds this family together. And by the way, you can never put it down." If that had happened, you could point at it. You could be angry at somebody. It came a favor at a time. You handled one thing, and you handled it well. So the next time there was a thing, they came to you. Because why wouldn't they? And you handled that one too. Competence works like compound interest. It just keeps adding, quietly, year over year. and nobody ever mails you the statement. You drove one person to one appointment. Now you drive everybody to everything. You were good on the phone with the hospital that one time. Now you're the one who calls the hospital. You made the reservation for that dinner back in 2019, and it went well. And I promise you, you are still making the reservation. There's a way this job gets assigned in most American families. And it isn't complicated. It goes to whoever doesn't fall apart. There's no interview and no vote. The sibling who cries gets comforted. The sibling who doesn't cry gets the paperwork. And for some of you, this started a lot earlier than you'd like to say out loud. You could read a room before you could do long division. You knew from the sound of a car door in the driveway what kind of night it was going to be. You knew which floorboard to skip. You knew when to be somewhere else in the house. And you knew it, the way you know your own name, without anybody ever teaching you. And the adults around you looked at all that and said, "She's so mature for her age. He's so grown up." That phrase gets handed around like a compliment. Sit with what it usually describes. Though, a child who stopped needing things, not a child who grew, a child who got quiet. Because quiet was safer, and the adults confused the two and handed out praise for it. Praise at 7 years old sets like concrete. Now, plenty of you had no chaos at all, nothing to survive. You just came out capable, and capable people get found. The world has a nose for it. You show up at a church, and inside of 4 months you're on 3 committees, and somebody's given you a key to the building. You start a job, and within a year, you're the one the new hires get sent to. And nobody's paying you a dime for that. Either way, here you are. And then there's the vocabulary, which is the part I really want you to hear. Because words are how a role gets locked in. You're reliable. You're the rock. You're the glue. You're the one who has it together. You're a trooper. You're a machine. You're the strong one. And in your entire adult life, nobody has ever once looked at you and said, "You know you don't have to be that. Let me give you the 4 words that lock the door. I don't know how you do it." People say that to you. They say it at church. They say it in the parking lot. They say it standing in your own kitchen. It sounds like admiration. So you say something modest back, and everybody moves along. Listen to that sentence again. Though, there's no question mark on the end of it. It isn't asking you anything. Nobody who says that is standing there waiting on an answer, because the sentence leaves no room for one. It's a statement about what you're already doing, delivered warmly, and underneath it sits a quiet assumption that you'll keep right on doing it. They're not being cruel. They mean it kindly. It still works like a hand on your shoulder pressing down. I've watched this happen at funerals my whole life. Picture it. Church basement, folding tables, that particular smell of coffee that's been sitting in an urn since noon, somebody's casserole dish with masking tape on the bottom and their last name written on it in marker. And there's a woman standing in a receiving line who buried her husband about 90 minutes ago. One by one, people take her hand and tell her, "You're so strong." She isn't strong. She's in shock. Her body hasn't caught up to the last 4 days yet. But that afternoon, in a church basement, in front of everybody she knows, she gets handed a part to play. And 2 years later, when she's sitting alone in a quiet house at 9 in the evening with the television on and nobody to call, she is going to remember that she's the strong one. and she is not going to call anybody. The role gets assigned in public. It gets served out in private. So look at what's happened to you. There are 4 sentences that you, a grown adult, can no longer physically get out of your mouth. I don't know. I need help. I can't do this today. I'm not okay. Try one right now, out loud, sitting wherever you're sitting. Most of you can't. Something in your chest catches it before it ever reaches your teeth. And if you did manage to get one out, you'd hear yourself tack something onto the end to take the weight off it. Anyway, I'm probably just tired. Before we walk out into that desert, I want one thing clear between us. You didn't choose this. There's no decision back there to go undo. And there's nobody to blame. And if some part of you has been bracing for me to tell you this is your own fault, that is not where any of this is going. But the thing that saved you has started to own you. Being the strong one got you through a childhood, or a marriage, or a bad stretch of years. And it worked. That's the whole problem. It worked so well that it grew over you like bark. Now, there's a scene in the Bible for this, and it's probably not the one you're expecting. Nobody's under a tree in this one. Nobody's in a whale. Nobody's crying out from a prison cell. There's a hill, and standing on top of that hill is the single most exhausting job in all of Scripture. There's a hill out in the desert, and standing on top of it is the most exhausting job anybody in the Bible ever got handed. Exodus, chapter 17. And I want you to know where Israel is in the story, because most people picture this wrong. They've been out of Egypt a matter of weeks, not years. Weeks. There's no law yet. Moses hasn't been up Sinai. There's no tabernacle, no priesthood, no ark. None of the furniture your mind reaches for when somebody says Old Testament. There's an entire nation moving through open country with whatever they could carry on their back, and a man about 80 years old walking at the front of it. And the chapter opens with a water problem. Before there's any battle at all, the people turn on him about water, and they turn on him hard enough that Moses says to God, "They're just about ready to stone me." So God tells him to take his staff, the same one from the Nile, the same one that split the sea, and go strike a rock at Horeb, and water comes out of it. That's the crisis the narrative places immediately before the fighting starts. So by the time Amalek shows up in this story, this man has already been the only thing standing between a furious crowd and total collapse. Then Amalek shows up. Now, Exodus tells you Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim, and then it moves right along to the hill. But the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 25, circles back to this same attack and tells you how they did it. It's one of the ugliest details in the Old Testament. They came at the back of the column. They didn't hit the front. They didn't go hunting for the fighting men. They swung around to the rear, where the line goes thin. And Deuteronomy says they cut down all who were lagging behind. When you were faint and weary, that's who they went after, whoever had run out first. Picture that column. A nation on the move doesn't travel like an army. It travels like a slow river. Up front, you've got the strong ones setting the pace. A mile back, 2 miles back, you've got everybody else. Old women, kids, somebody carrying somebody. People who are sick, people who are hurt, people who fell behind for the simple reason that they were already spent. That's the stretch Amalek walked into. I don't think that's a small thing to notice. There's an enemy in this book whose whole strategy is finding the people who have nothing left and hitting them there. So Moses gives an order. He tells a young man named Joshua, and this is the first time in the entire Bible that Joshua's name shows up. Choose us out some men and go fight. Tomorrow I'll stand on top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. Morning comes. Joshua goes down into the valley with the men. Moses goes up, and then comes the line the whole thing runs on. When Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, and when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. The narrative puts those two together directly. Arms up, Israel prevails. Arms down, Amalek prevails. That's how the text tells it. And it tells it as plainly as a weather report. Now stand up there with him a minute. Feel the staff in both hands. And look down. He can see it. That's the part everybody skips. He isn't in a tent somewhere with his eyes closed. He's on high ground, with the whole battle laid out underneath him, like something on a table. He can see where his line is holding and where it's starting to bend. From up there, he can pick out individual men, and at the same time, he can feel his own shoulders. That's the job description. Watch men fight for their lives. Feel your arms start to burn, and do the arithmetic in your head. Can I ask you to try something? You don't have to. And if you're driving right now, please don't. But if you're sitting somewhere, put your hands up over your head. Nothing in them. Just hold them up there and keep listening to me. Because here's what that hill actually was. In hours, the sun came up over the eastern ridge, and it was cool for maybe an hour. Then it wasn't. In that part of the world, the light comes down like a weight, and there's no shade on a hilltop, which is the entire reason you pick a hilltop. Sweat runs into your eyes, and you can't wipe it. Because your hands are up, the noise carries up from the valley. And it isn't the noise you'd expect. It's mostly voices and metal, and the sound of a lot of feet moving in gravel. Every so often, one sound louder than the rest that you'd rather not identify. And it goes on. There's no clock up there. There's a sun moving one hand width at a time across a sky with nothing else in it. Now, how are your arms? It's been about a minute, probably less. And I'd bet money you quit hearing me somewhere around the 30-second mark. Because there's a burn starting across the tops of your shoulders, and your hands have drifted forward, and something inside you is already negotiating about whether this really counts. Go ahead and put them down. He did that all day. And here's what I actually want you carrying out of this hill. Because this part is about you. Look at what rest costs a man in that position. His arms come down. Because he's a human being with a human body, and arms come down. And from where he's standing, he can see the line start to give ground. Not in theory. Out there, in front of him. In daylight. In a valley full of people he knows by name. Then he gets his arms back up, and it pushes forward again. Whatever that shift costs down there. He watched it happen. And from that moment on, he knows something no amount of encouragement is ever going to talk him out of. His exhaustion isn't private anymore. It has an address. You tell me that man is ever going to rest easy again. That is the exact machinery running inside a person who can't stop being strong. You aren't afraid of being tired. Tired is fine. You've been tired since 2011. What you're afraid of is what gives way during the window when you're not holding it. And you didn't invent that fear out of nothing either. You have evidence. There was the weekend you were sick and couldn't get off the couch. And you know exactly what this house looked like by Sunday night. There was the stretch when you were too worn down to check on your mother every day. And you know what you found when you finally got over there. So you learned, same as he learned. You learned that your rest has a price on it and somebody else pays it. And ever since, you have kept your arms up. Because the arithmetic is the arithmetic. Everybody in your life thinks you're strong. You're not strong. You're holding a position. And then, in the middle of that day, on that hill, comes a line so plain that most people read right through it into the next thing. But Moses' hands grew heavy. Now I want to read you one verse, and I want to read it slower than anybody has ever read it to you. Exodus 17, verse 12, 5 pieces. I'm going to stop between every one of them. But Moses' hands grew heavy, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. And Aaron and Hur held up his hands, the one on the one side, and the other on the other side. There it is. That's the whole thing. Now, everybody knows this story. If you grew up in church, you've heard a sermon on it. And maybe you've heard 4, and every one of them was about the same piece of it. The part where 2 men come alongside a leader and hold his arms up. It gets preached at pastor appreciation. It gets preached about supporting the ministry. It gets preached about friendship. And all of that is fine. And all of that is in there. But watch the order. Those 2 men did not walk up that hill and grab his arms. The first thing they did was go find a rock, drag it over, set it under him, and sit him down. Then they took his hand. The stone came first. Read it again if you want to. It's sitting right there in the middle of the verse. The seating happens before the helping, and I've been living with that half of a sentence for a long time now. Because once you see it, you cannot unsee what it says about the way help actually works. The first thing his friends did for him was not to take weight off of him. It was to make the strong man sit down. And the order isn't decoration. Nobody added that for style. It's physics. You cannot hold up the arms of a man who's still standing. Try it sometime. Get somebody to stand up straight with their arms over their head. Then try to take the weight for them. You can't. His whole body is inside that effort. His legs are locked. His back is engaged. His core is holding him upright, and his shoulders are doing what shoulders do. You'd just be 2 people touching a man's wrists while he does every bit of the work himself. To carry any real part of it, they had to change his position first. He had to give up his footing. He had to quit bracing. He had to let his own weight come down onto something that wasn't him. And only after his body stopped trying to be the entire structure could anybody else's strength get underneath it. They sat him down. Then he was reachable. Now go looking for the speech in that verse. The text records none. There's no line where Aaron says, "Moses, you have got to start taking better care of yourself." Nobody gives him a talk about balance, or delegation, or how you can't pour from an empty cup. Nobody quotes anything at him. Nobody processes his feelings or asks him how long this has been going on. They went and got a rock. Then go looking for the request. The text never records Moses asking. There's no verse where he turns around and says, "Boys, I can't hold this anymore." And knowing what we're about to find out about this man in a few chapters, I don't think he would have. I think he'd have stayed up there until his arms failed and the valley emptied out. They didn't wait on him to ask. They watched his hands start coming down, and they read it correctly, and they moved. There's one more absence in that chapter, and it's the strangest of the three. Exodus records no divine instruction to Aaron and Hur. Go through it and look. You'll find the Lord speaking to Moses about the water. You'll find the Lord speaking to Moses after the battle about writing it in a book. There is no verse anywhere in that chapter where God tells these two men to climb the hill and hold up his hands. Nobody assigned them either. Two men were standing close enough to see. That's the whole origin story of the most famous act of support in the Old Testament. It came out of nowhere, from ordinary people, unprompted, in the middle of a workday. And look at what wasn't in it. There's real miracle in this chapter. Water came out of a rock. There's something running between that hilltop and that valley all day long that nobody can account for. And none of that is small. But the help itself has nothing supernatural about it at all. It's a rock. It's the most ordinary object available in a desert, where there's nothing but sand, sky, and rocks. They used what was lying around on the ground. Heaven's intervention for the most exhausted man in Israel came out to two friends and a piece of the landscape. So, I'll leave one question in this chapter, and I don't want you to answer it yet. Where's your stone? Just sit with that, and while you're sitting with it, notice something, because I think most of you already have. You don't have one. It isn't because nobody loves you. There are people in your life who'd get in the car right now if you called them at midnight. It's that not one of them has ever looked over and seen your arms coming down, because you have never once, in your entire adult life, let yourself look like a person who might need to sit. That's the whole chapter. I told you it was small. There's a rock within arm's reach of you. There has been for years. Let's talk about why you've never sat on it. I can think of 5 reasons. 4 of them are about you, and 1 of them isn't. And I'm not going to pretend the 5th one doesn't exist. Here's the first one. Somebody in your house loaded the dishwasher last week. They were trying to help, and you walked into that kitchen and saw the bowls stacked flat and a wooden spoon standing straight up in the wrong slot. And something came up in your chest that was way out of proportion to a dishwasher. You didn't say anything. You're not a monster. You waited until they went to bed, and then you came back down and did it over. That had nothing to do with dishes. That was a person finding out what happens when they're not needed for 90 seconds, and not caring for the answer. Because if you're not the one who handles things in this house, then what exactly are you in this house? You've been handling things so long that the handling and the being have grown into each other. And somewhere down under all of it is a question you have never once let yourself finish. If I put it down, am I still worth having around? You'd never say that out loud. You'd deny it if somebody said it to you. It's still why the towels get refolded. Second reason, the lock shaped like a compliment. We talked about it already. I don't know how you do it. Your family says it. Your co-workers say it. Somebody said it to you in a parking lot last month, and you smiled. So now there's a version of you living in other people's heads. She's got it together. He never complains. And you've been maintaining that version like a car for years. And it has quietly turned into a second job that nobody is paying you for. Sit down now, and you don't just get rest. You disappoint people about something they believe. Somebody at church told you this place would fall apart without you. They meant it as a thank you. You've thought about that sentence 40 times since, usually late, and not once with any warmth. Third reason, and this one isn't a mistake. This one's arithmetic. Teaching somebody else to call the insurance company takes 20 minutes. You'd have to explain the account number, and the thing about saying agent 3 times, and which claim they're asking about, and what happened the last time they called. Then they'd call, get somebody unhelpful, and it would land back on your desk anyway. Doing it yourself takes 7 minutes. So you do it yourself. Every time, and every time. That's the correct decision. Run 7 minutes against 20 minutes across 10 years, and you arrive precisely where you're sitting tonight, holding all of it, having made a reasonable choice every single day of your life. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that math is wrong. It isn't wrong. Nobody ever told you what it adds up to. Fourth reason, for a lot of you, this is the real one. You already tried. There was a night, maybe 4 years ago, maybe 11. You were on the phone with your sister, or standing in a kitchen with a friend, and something in you opened about 1/4 of an inch, and you said a true thing. Something on the order of, "I'm honestly not doing great." And what came back was a sigh, or a story about their week, or, well, we're all dealing with something, or worse, advice, delivered fast, because you being okay was more comfortable for them than you not being okay. So you said, "No, you're right. I'm probably just tired." You laughed a little. You changed the subject. Here's the part that gets me. Nobody in your life knows that happened. That was a completely private event. You reached once, got nothing, put the whole thing in a drawer, and never opened the drawer again. And the person on the other end of that phone call has no memory of it whatsoever. It wasn't a moment to them. It was a Tuesday. You have been operating off that one data point ever since. And the fifth reason, this one isn't about you at all. Some of you genuinely cannot sit down. You're a single parent. There's no second adult in the building. When the fever hits at 2 in the morning, it's you. And it'll be you again next time. And there is no arrangement in which it's somebody else. You're the only income. If you take a week, the week doesn't get taken. It gets shoved onto some other week that can't hold it either. You're caring for somebody who can't be left alone for 10 minutes. Not 10. You've timed it. This is where I'll give you the truth instead of something encouraging. For you, most of what gets said about this topic is useless. Practice self-care. Set boundaries. Let it go. That advice was written for a person with options, and you don't have those options. And being told to take a bubble bath when you are the only thing standing between your mother and a nursing home is not just unhelpful, it's insulting. So I'm not going to say it. Here's what I'll say instead. And this is the center of everything in this video. There are 2 weights on you. There's the thing you're carrying, and there's the face you wear while you carry it. I can't take the first one off you. I don't have that power, and neither does anybody who ever made you a promise about it. The bills are the bills. Your mother has what she has. Those kids are going to need somebody at 6 in the morning, whether or not anybody slept. But the second weight was never part of the assignment. Go back up on that hill and look at him. Nobody down in that valley needed Moses to look comfortable. Not one man swinging a sword ever glanced up and thought, "I sure hope he's making this seem easy." They needed his hands up. That was the entire job. And when they finally got there, he was sitting on a rock with two men holding his arms, in full view of everybody, looking exactly as tired as he actually was. The battle was going fine. You've been holding your arms up, which is the job, and you've been performing ease, which is not the job. One of those two is optional, and it's the one that's been costing you the most. Now, somewhere out in that same wilderness, a few chapters later, this same man opens his mouth and says something to God that should have gotten him struck down where he stood. He says it out loud, in front of the whole camp, and nothing happens to him. Numbers, chapter 11. I want you to hear what this man actually said. Not the polite version. Not the version that gets read at a leadership conference. Set the scene first, because it's almost funny right up until it isn't. The people are crying about food. They have manna. It shows up on the ground every morning, free, for the whole nation. And they are standing in the doors of their tents weeping about it. And the text tells you exactly what they're weeping for. They want the fish they ate in Egypt, and the cucumbers, the melons, the lakes, the onions, and the garlic. Grown adults, sobbing over onions. It isn't one tent, either. Scripture says Moses heard the people weeping throughout their families. Every man in the door of his tent. Stand in the middle of that camp at night, and it's coming at you from every direction. That low sound of a whole nation feeling sorry for itself. And Moses breaks. Here's what he prays. Keep in mind, this is a prayer, which means he said all of it to God's face. Why have you treated your servant so badly? What did I do wrong, that you would put the burden of all these people on me? Did I conceive all these people? Did I give birth to them? Why are you telling me to carry them in my arms, like a nurse carries a baby, all the way to the land you promised their fathers? I can't carry all these people by myself. It's too heavy for me. And if this is how you're going to treat me, then kill me right now, if I found any favor with you at all. That's Numbers 11, verses 11 through 15. Look at the picture he reached for. The greatest leader in the Old Testament, the man who stood in Pharaoh's court and stretched his hand over a sea, describes his own job as a nursing mother carrying an infant. Sit with how strange that is. That's not the image you'd expect from him. He could have said soldier. He could have said shepherd. He used that one plenty of times. He went to a woman with a baby on her hip who cannot put it down. If you're caring for a parent right now, you just heard your life described in the Bible, and you know what makes that image accurate. It isn't the weight of the infant. Infants aren't heavy. It's that there's no version of the day where you set it down. You carry it while you cook. You carry it while you're on hold with the pharmacy. You carry it into the bathroom because you can't leave it in the other room. The weight is nothing. The non-stop is everything. Now notice who he's blaming. Why have you treated me so badly? Why did you put this on me? Why are you telling me to carry them? He isn't confessing anything. He's filing a complaint against God, in the second person, with the camp still crying in the background. So go find the rebuke. It isn't there. No fire comes out against Moses. No lightning. No speech about gratitude. No reminder of the Red Sea. No, you of all people should know better. God does not correct one word of it. The man accused heaven of ruining his life, and heaven let it stand. And then there's that last line, the one nobody preaches. Different translations render it different ways. Let me not see my wretchedness. Do not let me face my own ruin. One way to hear the force of it is this: don't make me keep watching what this is turning me into. Because he isn't only tired, he's afraid of who he's becoming. You know what happens to a decent human being who carries too much for too long. You get short. There's an edge in your voice that wasn't there 2 years ago. You snap at the very person you're giving your life to, and you watch their face change. And then you spend 4 hours hating yourself over 8 seconds. You've sat in the car after that, hospital parking garage, or your own driveway with the engine off, disgusted with yourself, thinking, I used to be a kind person. That's what he's praying about. He'd rather die than keep watching himself go sour. So watch what God does. This is the second thing in this video I really need you to see. God does not give Moses more strength. Read it. There's no verse where the Lord fills him with power for a heavier load. What God says is, gather 70 of the elders, bring them to the tent, and I will take of the Spirit which is on you and put it on them, and they will bear the burden of the people with you, so that you don't bear it by yourself. Take of the Spirit which is on you. Nothing new got created that day. What was already on one man got spread across 71. In this story, the answer did not arrive as more strength for one person. It arrived as more people, which means that it could be divided. It could always be divided. The only reason it was sitting on one man is that one man was carrying it. Nobody in that camp had figured out how to help him, because he had never given anybody a reason to try. Same as you. That group text with 6 people waiting on you about Thanksgiving. Every one of those 6 has a car and a phone and a working brain. They're not waiting because they can't. They're waiting because you have never once been slow. There's a detail in that chapter I love, and it usually gets skipped. The 70 elders received the Spirit, and they prophesied. In many modern translations, the moment is brief. They prophesy, and they don't continue. Once, then, they went back to being 70 ordinary older men. They didn't become Moses. Nobody got promoted. They just took some of it off him and carried it from there. I want that to land on whoever's been holding out for the right help to show up. You've been waiting on somebody who can do it the way you do it. Somebody who'll know the medication schedule and remember the appointment and handle it right. They don't have to be as good as you. They only have to be there. And then, the strangest part of the chapter, 2 of the 70, Eldad and Medad, weren't at the tent. They stayed back in the camp, and the Spirit came on them anyway. And they started prophesying right there among the tents. Somebody ran and told Moses, Joshua, young and loyal and protective, says, My Lord, stop them. And Moses says, Are you jealous for my sake? I wish every person in this camp had it. Look what just happened. The man who a few verses ago asked God to kill him is now refusing to control who gets to help. That's what it looks like when somebody finally sets it down. He didn't get his strength back. He got other people. And the second he had them, He stopped guarding the gate. Now, I want to be plain about something, because this is where a lot of preaching gets it wrong. Heaven's answer to a man at the end of himself was not a stronger man. It was more people, 70 of them. So when the help that comes to you shows up wearing a name badge, or holding a clipboard, or sitting behind a desk asking questions you've never said out loud, a doctor, a counselor, a support group, somebody from social services who actually knows what programs exist, don't file that under second best. That is the shape the answer took the first time God ever gave it. And if the tiredness in you has started saying what it said to Moses, that you'd rather not be here, that everybody would manage fine without you, don't carry that one more mile by yourself. Tell somebody tonight, not tomorrow. If you're in the United States, you can call or text 988 any hour, and there's a person on the other end. That's not a detour around God. 70 men walking toward one exhausted man is what it looked like when heaven answered. Now, Moses asked, and he got 70. Some of you already asked, and nobody came. I'm not going to leave that sitting there, because there's a garden in this Bible where somebody asked 3 friends for 1 hour and didn't get it. There were 11 men with him that night. He took 3 of them further in. It's the garden on the lower slope of the Mount of Olives, Passover. So the moon is full, and you can see farther than you'd expect. The olive trees there are old and low and twisted, and the ground under them is packed dirt and stone. And it's cold. Jerusalem sits high enough that the spring nights bite. He tells 8 of them to sit down and wait near the entrance. Then he takes Peter, James, and John, and goes deeper in. And he does 2 things in about 10 seconds that most people never do once in an entire life. He tells them what's happening inside him. My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow, he says, to the point of death. That's the reading off the actual gauge, with no padding on it. Spoken to 3 men who were standing right there looking at him while he said it. Then he asks for something. Stay here, he says. Stay awake with me. Look at how specific that is. There's a place. Stay here. There's a task. Stay awake. And a few minutes later he puts a number on it. 1 hour. That's the sentence. That's the exact sentence that will not come out of you. You can say things have been busy. You can say we're hanging in there. You can say, oh, you know, same old, in a tone that closes the subject before anybody can follow up. What you have not done in years is look at another human being and say, stay here with me for an hour. He said it out loud to his friends, knowing they'd remember he said it. Then Luke tells us he went about a stone's throw away from them and knelt down. A stone's throw. Think about that distance. That's a man who went far enough to pray alone and stayed near enough that they were still in the same clearing. He wanted them where he could see them and they could see him. And there, on the ground, Luke writes it plainly, his sweat became like great drops of blood falling down. Then he gets up and walks back over to those 3 men. They're asleep, all 3 of them, on the cold ground, under the trees, out cold. Simon, are you sleeping? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? He goes back and prays again, comes back, asleep, 3rd time. Same thing. Now, he asked. He was not required to. If anybody in the history of the world was entitled to carry something in private without troubling a single soul, it was him. That night, instead, he told 3 men exactly how bad it was and asked them to stay, which tells you something about what asking actually is. It isn't weakness leaking out around the edges of a person. It's what he did in the hardest hour anybody's ever had. And he did it with witnesses. And he asked, and he did not get it. I want to slow all the way down here, because this is for the people I was talking about a few minutes ago. The ones who reached out one time, years back, and got a sigh, or advice, or nothing, and never tried again. You've been carrying a private conclusion ever since. You think you did it wrong. You think you picked the wrong person, or said it badly, or brought it up at a bad moment. And if you'd handled it right, somebody would have come. Look at the garden. The request was perfect. The wording was perfect. The person asking was perfect. The friends were the closest 3 he had on this earth. The ones who'd been up on the mountain with him and standing in the room when the little girl got up off her bed. And they slept through it. There's no version of that ask that would have worked. That's what I need you to take out of here. The failure wasn't in the asking. Sometimes the most honest request a human being can make lands in a room where everybody has already gone under. And it is not about you, and it never was. And Luke adds 1 word about why they were sleeping that changes the whole picture. He says he found them sleeping for sorrow. They weren't bored. They weren't indifferent. Grief had knocked them out. Their bodies had taken all they could take of that night and shut down where they sat. So the people around you who haven't shown up, some of them are careless. Sure, a lot of them are just under. Your sister who never calls back is 4 years into something you know nothing about. That friend who went quiet after the funeral went quiet because she had nothing left. And she's been ashamed of it ever since. That doesn't fix your loneliness. It might take some of the poison out of it. Now watch what heaven does with the request. It does not take the cup away. He asks 3 separate times, in the plainest words available, that this thing pass from him. And it does not pass from him. Morning comes anyway. Everything he was dreading happens exactly the way he knew it would. Here's what Luke says came instead. There appeared an angel from heaven, strengthening him. Nothing about the situation changed. Not one detail. What arrived was somebody sent to be there while it didn't change. And then look at the very next verse, because it's one of the most honest sentences in the New Testament. Being in agony, he prayed more earnestly. The help came, and then it got harder. Read that twice if you need to. The angel shows up, and the next line tells you the agony deepened. So whatever that strengthening was, it wasn't relief. It didn't take the edge off anything. It was the capacity to keep going through something that stayed every bit as heavy as it was before. A lot of you have been waiting on the wrong thing. You've been waiting for the weight to lift, and calling it unanswered prayer when it doesn't. And in these stories, over and over, what shows up instead is presence. 2 men and a rock on a hill, 70 elders at a tent, somebody sent under an olive tree. Then, after they'd failed him twice, he went back a 3rd time. He didn't write those 3 men off. He didn't decide he was done with them. And he didn't file the whole night away and stop asking anybody for anything ever again, which is exactly what most of us do after one bad experience. let alone 3 in one night. And listen to what he says over them while they're lying there. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. That's a defense. He's making an excuse for them, sitting inside the worst hour of his life, having asked for one thing and gotten nothing. He looks at his sleeping friends and says, their hearts are in the right place. Their bodies just gave out. He was more generous about their exhaustion than they were about his. And I'd bet everything you're the opposite. You extend that grace to everybody. Your sister who didn't call, well, she's got a lot going on. Your husband who didn't notice, he's under pressure at work. You have an excuse ready for every person who has ever let you down. You just don't have one for yourself. Here's the line I want you carrying out of this garden. He never once pretended the cup was light. He drank it. He went through with all of it. But he never stood there and told anybody it wasn't heavy. And he never performed calm for the benefit of the people watching. And it never occurred to him that faith required him to. Then he wakes them up one last time and says, rise, let us go. And he walks out of those trees toward the torches coming across the valley, carrying the whole thing, without ever having gotten the 1 hour he asked for. Which brings me back to a hill in the desert, and to the second half of a verse we never finished. We stopped that verse halfway. Here's the rest of it. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. Read that ending again. Until the going down of the sun. Not until the war was over. Until the sun went down. And that matters more than it sounds like. Because of what happened to Amalek. They didn't get finished off that day. They walked off that battlefield and kept going. Generations later, they're still raiding. And Samuel is dealing with them in the days of King Saul. Centuries after that, in the book of Esther, the man plotting to exterminate the Jewish people is called Haman the Agagite, a name that the Amalekite king. The tradition reads that as the same old enemy showing up again in a new century. That conflict outlived Moses by 1,000 years. He never saw the end of it. He was never told he would. What he got was a sundown. Now put that next to your shoulders. Because here's what you've been doing. You've been holding your arms up until it's over. Until your mother's better. Which she isn't going to be. Until the money situation resolves. Until this kid gets through this phase. Until things calm down. Until the year turns and something finally gives. You've been trying to hold a position until the war ends. Nobody anywhere was ever asked to do that. It's why you feel the way you feel. The unit of measure is 1 day. There's one more thing in that verse. And then I'll give you something you can actually do with it. Look at the word steady. The Hebrew word underneath it carries a range of meaning that runs through firmness and reliability and on into faithfulness. It belongs to the same family as the word translated faithful all over the Old Testament. And some translators have noticed the echo sitting right there in the line about a pair of arms. So sit with the picture that word is attached to. It's a man on a rock somebody else found for him, with 2 people holding him up, staying in position until dark. That's the image the word lands on. And when it's over, verse 15, Moses builds an altar, and he gives it a name. He doesn't name it after his endurance. He doesn't call it, "This is where I held out," or "The place I didn't quit." He calls it, "The Lord is my banner." A banner is what an army gathers around so the men can find each other in the noise. He put a name on that hill, pointing at somebody other than himself, which is a strange thing to do for a man whose arms were the whole story of the day, unless he understood something about what he'd actually been part of up there. So, what does one sundown look like between now and tomorrow night? It's smaller than you're afraid it is, and none of it sounds spiritual. It's one true sentence, said to one person, not a report, not an explanation with background and context and a defense of why you feel this way. One sentence, on the order of, I'm running low right now. You don't owe anybody the file. It's one thing handed to somebody else, and then letting them do it wrong. That's the hard part. Not the handing, the watching. They'll load it flat and stand the spoon up in the wrong slot, and you will want to go fix it after they've gone to bed. And the whole exercise is whether you can leave it alone until morning. It's 1 hour with your phone face down in another room where nobody can reach you, and you don't announce it beforehand, and you don't apologize for it afterward. It's telling one person the actual number, not things are tight. The number, say it to your spouse, or your brother, or whoever should have known about it 4 months ago. The reason you haven't said it is that saying it makes it real, and it's already real, and it's sitting down once today. Actually sitting, not sitting in order to fold something, not sitting with a laptop open, sitting in a chair doing nothing, for about as long as it takes a cup of coffee to go from hot to warm. If that last one sounds easy, try it and see how fast you stand back up. You were never asked to hold your arms up until the war ends. You were asked to hold them until the sun goes down. Then it gets dark, and you put them down, and you eat something, and you sleep. And tomorrow shows up with its own sundown already built into it. Now, let's go back out to the car. Same driveway, same engine ticking as it cools, same porch light somebody left on for you, same blue flicker in the front window. So somebody's still up in there. Same coffee in the cup holder with an inch left in it. Cold from this morning. Now let me tell you what hasn't changed. Because I'm not going to lie to you at the end of this. The bills are still the bills. Nothing about the amount moved while you were listening to me. The diagnosis is still what it said on the paperwork. And the next appointment is still on the calendar in 3 weeks. And you're still the one driving. The conversation you've been putting off since March still has to happen. And it's still going to go about as badly as you think. That group text is still sitting there with 6 people in it waiting on you about Thanksgiving. Nobody decided anything while you were out. Your mother is still your mother. Your son is still in the middle of whatever this is. The refill still needs calling in. You are, right this second, exactly as tired as you were when you pulled in. Same seat, same dark, hand still on the key. Here's what's different. You tilt the rearview mirror down, same as always. You look at your own face in it, the way a person looks at a wall they just patched. And then you don't put it back on. You leave it. You leave the face in the car. You open the door, and the dome light comes on. And you get the groceries out of the trunk. And you walk across your own yard. And you go inside. And somebody calls out from the other room, "Hey, you're home." And you say a true thing. Small, nothing dramatic. No speech from the doorway. Something on the order of, "Honestly, I'm running on empty today. I'm here. and I love you, and I'm running on empty. That's the whole thing. Now I want to be honest about what happens next, because if I let you expect the wrong thing, you'll try this once and never try it again. Probably nothing happens. Somebody says, okay. Somebody says, oh, you want me to fix you a plate? And then they go back to the show they were watching. And you put the milk in the fridge. And the evening keeps going, the way evenings go. Or it gets a little awkward. You've never said anything like that in this house before, and they don't have a response ready. So they might look at you funny, or ask if something's wrong, and you'll have to say no, nothing's wrong. I'm just worn out. And the whole thing will feel like it landed badly. It didn't land badly. You didn't say it to get a reaction. Hear me on that. Because it's the part everything depends on. You said it to stop performing. That sentence was not a request. It was not a bid for somebody to come rescue you. And if you go into it hoping for that, you're going to be crushed by a person watching television. That sentence was you setting down the second weight, the one that was never part of the job. Nobody has to receive it for it to work. You already did the thing, and if you say it more than once, something else starts happening. Say it Tuesday. Say it again in 2 weeks. Say it in front of your kids in a normal voice, the way you'd mention the weather. Because the reason nobody has ever come alongside you isn't that they don't love you. We settled that already. It's that not one of them has ever seen your arms come down. They've been looking at you for 15 years and getting the same reading every single time. She's fine. He's fine. Change the reading. And eventually somebody notices. And one day, maybe not soon, somebody in that house is going to see it. And they're going to go looking for a rock. Before you go, one thing, and it isn't about you. There's somebody in your life who hasn't sat down in years. You thought of them somewhere in this video. You've seen their car sitting out there in their own driveway with the engine off, and you wondered about it for half a second. And then you forgot. Nobody assigned Aaron and her either. 2 men were standing close enough to see, and they didn't fix anything. And the record doesn't show them saying one word. They found a rock in a desert full of rocks, and they sat him down. You're completely qualified for that. Take their kids for 4 hours. Drive them to the appointment so they don't have to be the one driving. Ask them a question they can't get out of by saying fine. You know that person's name. You've known it for about 20 minutes now. Do it this week. As for you, you're not going to wake up tomorrow feeling powerful, and I'd be lying if I told you otherwise. You'll wake up with the same list, and your arms will go right back up in the morning, because that's the job, and because you love them. And I have not once in this whole video asked you to put the war down, just the sun down. Hold it until the sun goes down, then stop. And when your hands start getting heavy, and they will, I want you to remember what the picture actually was on that hill. It was not a man gutting it out alone up there. It was a man sitting down in front of everybody, with 2 people holding him up, staying in position until dark. He didn't finish that day standing. Neither do you have to. Go inside. Leave the face in the car